Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thelma's podcast. I hope you had a good week so far. Be well, as a teacher, you have good days, bad days, and yeah, it happens. It is what it is. So today, a guest of mine is somebody that I really like so much. His name is Martin. We used to work together. Hi Tina. We used to work together in Iceland. We used to be good colleagues. We used to get along so well. He has a heart of gold. He's a lovely person, so reliable, always there, So he works as a musician. So I saw from his clips that he plays the guitar, he sings as well. So I want to know more about when we both haven't kept in touch as much. I became a teacher and he became a musician. So I want to know exactly more about his life after Iceland. We used to work in Iceland before. And I just want to tell my lovely students and young people that in life, when you finish school, you will do jobs that you're not really happy to do, but you need to understand that when you have a place to stay, when you have a place to live, you need to pay the bills, you need to pay the rent, you need to pay food. So in life, you're gonna do jobs that you don't want to do, but you have to make sure you pay the bills. So yeah, that's what I want to say, because when I met him in Iceland, I used to be a student, and obviously to keep up with my studies, with buying everything that I needed to buy, I had to work a part-time job that I wasn't really keen on before. So yeah, we're going to talk briefly about that. How, we did this part-time job to help us out with bills, and, how we learned some valuable skills, because working in a shop, yes, it's a dead-end job, let's be real. But at the same time, you learn a lot of skills. I learned how to be more patient with customers, how to be more professional. I learned more about cash handling, so I also learned more about, math skills, if that makes sense. What else did I learn? Organization skills, how, I had to work in this place and then somebody else. So teamwork as well, I had to learn that. So everything that you do after leaving school is valuable, and you put that in your CV. Even if it's jobs that you don't like to do, you need to put all the skills that you've learned, all the experience that you gain, because when you leave school, having a CV, creating a CV is key. So go out there, no matter what dream you want to pursue in life, go out there and do and work, because you do need to pay the bills if you don't live with your parents. And if you live with your parents in the meantime, well, it's all about making connections. It's all about, building the CV. All right. So in about 3 minutes, I have my lovely dear friend that is coming coming alive with me. I also hope you enjoy my podcast. So please let me know anything that you like, don't like, anything that you want me to include, because it's very important. What I do is really for my students. It's also for me on a personal level. I am reconnected with some of my friends, especially those I worked with before. So for me, it's on a personal level is that. On a professional level, I really want my students to learn more life skills, life after school, what you can expect. And trust me, I'm sure for all of you that will leave school one day, you'll be fine. You have to go out there and just give it a go. A lot of learning curves. You're going to do a lot of jobs before you get to do the right one, the one that was made for you. So, yeah. So, in about 2 minutes, I have my lovely and dear friend coming, and I can't really wait. Merci beaucoup, je suis génial. And briefly again, merci, tu es génial, that means I'm great. Thank you. So don't forget, this one is podcast in English. What would you like to know is a podcast in French, Spanish, and Portuguese. Okay, don't forget that. So for my students who are learning languages, yes, so go to what would you like to know. And I always advertise, my podcasts on here and also on the other Instagram channel that I have. Okay, so my friend should be coming in 1 minute. Let me see. Okay. And thank you again for coming and welcome. And welcome. Let me see. This one. Hey, Martin, jump on. I've invited you. Now, what you need to do. Hey, oh my
Hello,
day.
how are you?
Oh my God. Hello, Martin. How are
I'm
you?
very well. It's been a while,
It's
hasn't it?
been a long time. You haven't changed. You look the same.
So do you. So do you. We must be doing something right. It's all that Iceland food, eh?
I know. Iceland days. Oh. So, your name is Martin Duggan. Is that
That's
correct?
correct, yeah, Martin Duggan.
Lovely. So can you tell us more
Hmm.
about your life after Iceland? Because I explained we both were working Iceland
Yeah,
as part-timers, pay the bills, the rent. So what was your life after?
yeah, good question. Um, After Iceland, at the time I was at university, so I was studying English literature, 19th century literature, and when I left Iceland, I went to another place called 4D Model Shop, which was like a place that supplied architects with little model trees, little models, little people, all scaled down to size, things like that. And it also for architects students as well. So architect students, things like that, or people who were generally interested in model making. So I was there for a considerable amount of time, and it was like a place where you couldn't really progress anymore. There was like a ceiling to it. So in terms of me progressing my career and I guess progressing myself as an individual, staying there would have an adverse effect on who I was, potentially, and who I could grow into being. So I believe I was offered another place. And then I ended up doing like various retail jobs, things like that. I was even working at one stage at a salad bar, but through that whole time, my consistent thing, which I believe is under the canopy of this discussion we'll be having, is the music. So I was always continuing to focus on that, and I think that was my main drive. And it wasn't at the time my career. Following those various retail jobs and the stint at the sort of the salad bar place, which was really long hours, like 12 hours. It was like ridiculous hours and really quite tough work. But I ended up getting a job in Evans Cycles. So I was there for a good few years, and I started as just a standard sales guy. Didn't know anything about bikes, and after time you pick these things up relatively quickly because you're constantly engaging with customers with regards to the bikes and so forth. And they had promoted me to assistant manager, and I ended up going to various stores to help those stores out. Like a new store was opening in Clapham, so they moved me there just to help things go smoothly. You're probably aware, as are other people who may be listening, that it eventually, Evans, they started to implode. It wasn't such a successful business, and I believe it was Mike Ashley from the Newcastle. He owned Newcastle, was the director. He bought out. He owned Sports Direct as well.
Yeah.
He bought out Evans, and they started shutting down stores, so the whole company started to implode. So I had made plans to make movements to go somewhere else, anticipating the collapse essentially of Evans Cycles. It's still hanging on for dear life now though, so it didn't totally collapse, but I know they closed a good amount of stores. I then I had a small part-time job somewhere else after leaving Evans. It was like a storage place, and it wasn't a great environment for me because it was lone working. I like to talk to people. I like to be quite sociable. And again, I was applying for other jobs, and I ended up at Majestic Wine which is where I'm working now. So I'm an assistant manager there, and well, it's my side project is always going to be music. That's my life's vocation, I believe. But to have like a job where you're utilized and used, and you can use your brain a lot. You don't have to discuss wines and things like that, and there is a progression. Whereas what I was referring to before, the 4D model shop, there was a ceiling. You couldn't really progress any further. At least with Majestic Wine, they're a good company, a strong company. They look after their staff, and there is options for progression, which is what I'm hoping to do. I hope to get to manager some point in the new year.
Oh, lovely. Majestic Wine. So
Mhm.
whereabouts do you work? Well, where is Majestic Wine? Is it North London?
Yeah,
And
so
we
they I guess I'm kind of plugging Majestic Wine now, but they have like
Mhm.
200 stores
Oh,
across the UK. Yeah, so they're a big store. I believe an American investment company purchased them a while ago for like 80 million. So they're a powerhouse in terms of like retail and stuff. There may not be, I mean, I'm not sure I knew Majestic Wine before I started there, but they are pretty well established and the business is growing as well. So they're opening new stores and in the stores you can literally go in and they'll have wines open
okay.
for you to try, and they open 90,000 bottles a year across all of Majestic stores. So there's a lot of investment that goes into that. They want people to try wines, to discover new wines. It's constantly evolving. There's different methods and things with regards to the wine. So, as well as being on your feet all day, like you're spinning plates, you've got to do this email, you've got to do an order here and deliveries here. It keeps the brain active. It's quite physical as well. So you're lifting like heavy boxes, 6 boxes, 12 boxes of wine. And, it keeps the brain and the body moving and active, which is always good for an individual. What I was referring to before with the storage place, it was lone working and you were sat down. So in terms of being active and stuff, it wasn't great for the soul in a sense.
Yeah, it must be hard. So your love for music, when did that started? When did you start realizing that you love music? Because I love music, but
Yeah,
I don't think I can do what you do, be a musician. There's two different things.
yeah. That's very kind of you. I'm sure you can. You're a smart lady, Thomas. So I think it's a lot to do with your desire and your passion and what you essentially want. So for you, I know you speak quite a few languages, like
Yeah.
so you've obviously had like a desire to do that and a will to learn, and that is a sort of catalyst for you to learn and to pick things up rather quickly. For me, when I was growing up, in the car with mum, she used to always play like these 80s tunes, like Tears for Fears, Aha, things like that. And I think,
Oh,
yeah, that's essentially where my love for music began. And in terms of picking up the guitar, my brother used to listen to certain types of music, like he liked Nirvana and things like that. And he was playing me these songs. He's older than me by 2 years. And he was like, he introduced me to these bands and so forth. So I was listening to these bands I wouldn't essentially have listened to. He's always been that sort of guiding light in a sense, without essentially being that guiding light. He doesn't intentionally do it,
yeah.
but him showing me these things lead me down a path always. And it was listening to those and hearing certain songs and thinking, man, I would really love to write a song like that. And he had a guitar. And I think when I was 14, he bought me a guitar on my birthday. And from that point, I just said to myself, I just want to make a great song. You're here on this life, like in this world, on this rock, and then you're gone. So essentially, the best thing you can do is obviously live a good life, be good to people. But if you can leave something behind, like a legacy, like say, for you teaching people to speak different languages and stuff, that's something that they can take on their journey. If you should disappear or if I should disappear, at least we've left something that is given to generations that are coming up, or individuals who are still finding their way in life. So for me, my main focus was just to write a great song. I didn't, and I still don't care about anything that comes or that a lot of people are searching for. Like I know a lot of people are wanting fame and money and stuff like that, but these things are, to me, they're not trivial, but to me they're not so important. I think what's more important is the human soul, and giving something that people can, you know, have some sort of, it encourages them, gives them some belief, gives them some hope, you know. And I think music has a strong power to do that. You know, you could be like a doctor, you could be a firefighter, you could have all these various careers. And I think with music, it can be that canopy that is, you know, that can cover all those bases. You know, a doctor can help, you know, a lot of people and things like that. But I think, you know, and firefighters, policemen, and all these other types of people as well. But I think with like creative work, arts like poetry, you know, music and writing and things like that, I think, you know, that's a way to remind people of the human soul, and that there is humanity there. You know, a lot of times people can get misguided, and I think essentially what you need to look for is the things that are not essentially man-made. So things like money, this is a man-made institution, you know. And you know, without getting too deep, I always try to break down the things that are man-made and just try to essentially find what is human about people, or what makes this life important, you know. And I'm not saying that any of the man-made things aren't important. They're there for a reason. But for me, they don't always help find the human soul, and certainly having loads of money or having fame won't help you find who you are. And you know, I actually think it would stop you finding who you are, and lead you away from what essentially could be something so important. You know, you can't, a lot of people on this earth, all they need is someone to tell them, you're doing well, I believe in you, you know, you're doing a great job. And I think with, you know, you can't as an individual say this to every person, but in a song, if you can write something that's, you know, that has the right words and the right understanding of what potentially someone is going through, you know, what your problems are, I probably have those problems, you know, we all have that same sort of problems. We'll have these complex issues that we're all going through. But I think with music, it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're living in Australia, whether you're living on the continent of Africa or somewhere like that, that, you know, people are always going to need belief. They're always going to have, you know, concerns about life. You know, they're all going to think about life. They're all going to think about death. These things, I think there's a common sort of human experience that we all go through, whether you even lived 100 years ago or 100 years from today. I think there's a common thread throughout humanity that will always have that kind of understanding, or those kind of intricate problems, you know. And I think if you can have like a mantra with music, and you know, something that inspires you or encourages you, it's music that makes you think, not music that you hear on the radio and it's like da, 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 and stops you thinking about life, you know. Maybe a song that actually makes you be more introspective and look into yourself and try to understand the world around you a bit more.
Yeah.
Then I believe that that's the real power of music. And I think if you can understand those sort of the dynamics of that, then I think you have the potential to write something really good. Which I'm always trying to. I'm always trying to write a song, and you know, when I write something, I think, oh, you know, I think that's really good. I'll be playing my guitar, and I'll pick something up on the guitar, and I think, oh, that sounds really good, and then I'll work it and work, and it's like chipping it out of the marble, you know. So you think, yeah, there's something there, and you keep working and working on it, and then, you know, as you sort of get that sort of music going in, you know, I guess it kind of stirs up some emotions in you, and you know, I always end up just kind of singing along, and then things kind of stick. It's usually the chorus that kind of sticks first, and then from that chorus, I'll build around the song, because the chorus is basically where I'll sort of understand where the song is going. And again, it's the music that will dictate what I will essentially write. And yeah, I'm constantly, you know, I'll write something, I think, yeah, that's really nice, and then I'll try and write a song with some depth and some meaning, you know, and then I'll work on something else another day once I've completed that. I'll practice it, and then I'll go play it live, you know, at an open mic or something, and you know, then I'll start working on something else. And I'm always trying to push myself, push the boundaries. It's not something I specifically think about, push it, but I'm always trying to write something better. So when I pick up the guitar again, I think, oh yeah. So to me, when I write something, and I hit something, gives me a good feeling in my stomach, and I'm like, oh, it gives me like a buzz. So that that to me is what makes me, you know, what kind of drives me. I guess I've kind of got that sort of endorphin mix, you know, of enjoying to play or enjoying playing the guitar and writing at the same time. Um, but yeah, like I say, you know, I'll write something, yeah, that's good, and then I'll write something else, and think, oh yeah, yeah, and you know, and I'll just keep trying to move forward like that, essentially, you know.
No, that's so amazing. I don't know if you saw once, what I liked about as a teacher, I love when Adele, she was in a concert, she
Mm.
said somebody that inspired her into being a singer was an English teacher. And the English teacher was actually in the audience. That
Oh,
was so inspiring.
I have,
So did you have the same, do you see that clip that was
I,
viral?
no, no, I haven't seen it, unfortunately, but I think
You heard
I heard something
the
similar
clip?
with Harry Styles as well.
Yeah.
So Harry Styles
So,
had seen a teacher in the crowd as well. So, I mean, you know, sometimes as individuals, like, you know, you don't realize the impact you could have on another person's life. So, you know, it could be like one day where someone's having a bad day or has some doubt in themselves, and you could be that one person that says, look, you can do it, I believe in you. And you know, all of a sudden you shift their mentality and you become, in their minds, a great source of inspiration. You know, I think in terms of following, you know, following what you want to do, and you know, chasing your dreams in a sense, I think you have to be kind of strong-minded about that. You know, is always, you know, say for you're referring to Adele picking out this one English teacher, or you know, maybe Harry Styles picking out his teacher in a concert. Like, it's, you know, when you're doing something that's difficult, you know, you have to love what you do. But when you're doing something that's difficult, you're never really going to get a lot of encouragement. People will always encourage you. Don't get me wrong, but you know, there's a lot of doubt around it, and you know, there's a reason why this one person here is picked out, or that one person, because they were that source of light, that inspiration that guided them in that direction.
yeah.
And you know, and I think that's essentially what people in general need. And for me, you know, I've had you know, on a couple of occasions, nothing that I care to go into too much detail, but people that I, you know, respected and stuff, had said to me, you know, what are you doing? Why are you doing this and that? And I think, you know, it's something that I enjoy, you know, and it's something that is something that keeps me going, something that drives me, you know. And you know, there are a good number of people I can think of that have, you know, inspired me, you know, and you know, keep going and keep doing that, you know, keep going. But there's been people that, you know, I really cared and respected about, who were saying like, you know, why are you doing this? Why can't you just like focus on a career or something like that? And again, it goes back to that man-made thing. You know, you can work in a career and work your way up in a business, you know, but what are you getting back from that? You know, you can be replaced like that, you know, when you do something you love. That can't be replaced, you know.
Exactly, and I agree. So I've got two more questions for you.
Mm,
I've seen talent shows like X Factor, Britain Got Talent,
mhm.
I think Pop Idol.
Yeah.
Would you ever, you know, if somebody approached you and say, "Oh, Martin, you are talented," would you ever be approached and say, "Yes, yes, I'll be part of these shows"? You'd be like, "No, you know what? I'd rather be, you know, my own person." Would you? Would you go and participate in those shows? You'd be like, no, that's not really for
Mm.
me.
Yeah, very good question. For me, essentially, no, I would never. I would never do that. I would prefer to go into the abyss as an unknown artist and never be discovered in a sense. Than go to one of those shows. I think, you know, I respect anybody who has the confidence and the will to go on those shows and do that. You know, I don't want to take anything away from them, but I think if you really want longevity and you want your music to actually mean something and to show that you have depth and character, and that you're not looking for a fast track to fame,
Mm-hmm.
again referring back to what I was talking about, then going on those shows is only going to dilute what potentially you could give to the world. I think as soon as you step onto that screen, it's an entertainment thing, you know, it's purely entertainment. You know, you're in, you're out. It's like a factory thing. It's like,
Yeah,
it's kind of like pop music, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah. But again, I got nothing against some of the pop songs. I really don't. A good song is a good song. But yeah, it's I have been asked that question before, and yeah, it's a very valid question, you know. But like I say, I think for me as an individual and as someone who truly believes in writing songs and writing good songs, you know, and making music that other musicians would want to pick up the guitar and play, or younger generations would want to pick up and play. I genuinely believe that if I was to go on to any one of those shows, it would dilute essentially what I could have given to the world, you know, going out to open mics and struggling and working my way up, you know. I think that gains more respect, and that would give you more chance of longevity and having a lasting impression on people.
Yeah, that's true. So, what would be your advice to young people that are obviously talented? Because you know where I work, as I love those kids play the music and sing. That's so inspiring.
Yeah.
What would be your advice for those people that leave secondary school who have these rich talents?
Yeah, I would always say encourage your talent, keep trying to develop it. You know, don't let other people sway what you're going to do. They don't understand your goal, your vision, your intuition. You have to follow your heart, what you feel inside, you know, and that's the most important thing. I think as well that, you know, a lot of people I see on the open mics, and I've seen the odd post from fellow musicians who have said, oh look, I'm quitting music, this is too hard, and I just think that's crazy, because you know, this is not thinking in the right mentality. Again, it's they're thinking that success or being discovered is, you know, being famous, being on TV, being well known. But to me, success is doing something that you love.
Yeah,
that that essentially is it, you know, because once you hit that fame thing, you know, what are you going to do? You're going to be busy, you're going to keep doing this, and if you don't really love what you do, you're going to hate it, you know. It's going to be like work, it's going to essentially be work. So I think, you know, what I think at open mics as well, and what I was referring to about musicians saying, oh, this is too hard and so forth, I would say that what I think sometimes is that 99.9% of us are not going to make it in that sense,
yeah,
but 100% of us can enjoy what we do and not take it for granted, you know. I
yeah,
think there's people in the world who have it extremely difficult, and I think it's an absolute luxury that I can sit in my room and play guitar, where there's someone else somewhere in this world who is looking for his next glass of water, looking for his next glass of food, might have an amputation, might have a certain disability, something wrong with their serenity in their life, you know. And I think it is an absolute luxury that I can actually pick up the guitar and play in my room and go out and play in at an open mic and spread joy. So I think for the younger people, it's that understanding that it's that success is finding happiness. There's nothing else for it, because you know, again, like you, it's a cliche, but you can't take your money with you. You can't take the material things with you. These things you have to break down and try and find what is essentially humanity inside you. And I think it's so important just to do what you love and enjoy it, and not get twisted with ideas of fame, money,
no,
and all of this. I think that's really going to steer you down the wrong direction, and uh, will dilute your passion, you know. And I think people should should really try have their goal as happiness, and whatever that is, you know, focus on that and be determined with that, you know. Even if you touch one person's heart, then you've made a difference,
yeah.
you know.
I love it. You speak like a true philosopher. But once again, thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time. And I can't wait to hear all the things that you do, because I actually like to watch your videos. I'm like,
Thank
Mom,
you.
amazing. So yeah, so thank you for what you do. Thank you for touching people's lives as well. I think that's what's important. Touching one person can make
Hmm.
a difference. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much, Martin.
And
Yeah.
thank you too. I appreciate you.
It's a pleasure, yeah. We'll catch up soon for
I
sure.
hope so. Thank you so much.
Bye, take care.
Bye now. Bye.